I get to the inspection part, right? And me being cheap, I'm like, man, I don't want to pay $1,500 again. I already lost out on that. So, I just want the quick package that the guy had. And, so he went, it took like a week for him to do it. He goes in there, and then one of the tenants wasn't home, so we couldn't get that one checked out. So we had to wait another couple days to get that one checked out. It was just so freaking annoying. This is what I'm talking about with so many hands in a pot, right? So I'm being cheap and shit, and I'm like, I get the cheaper package, and then I get back the reports, and it's like 5 pages long, and I sent it to my agent. She's like, no, like, why is this one not as detailed as the other one? I'm just like, well, I did get the cheaper package, and she recommended getting the more extensive one. So I'm like, yeah, you know what, you're right, I need that. Call up the inspector. I'm like, hey, I'm sorry, but I need the more expensive one. I'll pay the difference. He went back out for me. That took another days. That's another thing too, guys. So your closing date, if you set your closing date to August 27th, you have to do everything about August 27th. And this is the lesson learned for you. You are on a time crunch, so every day matters, okay? Every day matters. When you're making an offer, you also have to say something about like, you will pay up to $5,000 worth of, property fixes before, closing on the property and shit like that. So I'm gonna fast forward past the appraisal part because I actually was able to get the property appraised. But you guys, this appraisal took forever. So there was actually something wrong with the property because one of the windows was extremely foggy and you could not see out of it. And like I said, the VA loan is extremely strict, okay? So they said, no, this needs to be fixed. So I had to wait for the sellers to fix that. And then in the meantime, in the midst of that, they also was fixing all the other things that was wrong from the reports, and they fixed everything, So once they fixed everything, the appraiser then had to come back out to check and make sure that those fixes, those repairs were made, right? And the appraiser took forever. I don't even know what the hell. I think he was like going through some personal shit maybe. He had to be because it was just insane because there's only a fucking window you have to check. Check the window. You have to like come out the car. The dude was like do a little drive by, see the shit, and then go on and go back to your office and write your little report. But it just took him forever to get that shit back. Like I don't even know what was going on. I was calling my agent. Like, can you contact him? Like whatever. And this is what I'm talking about, you guys, with the many hands that's in the pot because a lot of people and a lot of things will slow your time down. It's crazy. So the appraiser finally came back with his reports, and it came down to it that the house had appraised for $25,000 less than what the seller originally wanted the house for, right? And so another thing too, you guys, the VA loan only pays for how much the house appraised for. So if the seller's asking you for $500 and the house appraised for $400, the VA loan is only going to give you $400. They're not giving you no more than that, And I was like, damn, because at any given time, the seller could pull out and be like, you know what? I'm not doing it. So the house actually appraised for $25,000 less than what he asked for. And I was in the field at the time, and I was like, freak, man, I didn't even know what the hell was going on. And like I was asking my agent, like, so does that mean that he could pull out? And she was like, yeah, like he could decide he doesn't want to do it. He could just decide. I'm just like, damn, like, so I was like, fuck, because it's a new thing that I had learned. Because I'm learning like the many things that can go wrong that could just not go in your favor for you not to get a property, So a couple hours went by, and then she said, hey, he said he's gonna do it. So I was like so excited, super, super excited, because you guys, I'm like, it's crunch time right now. It is crunch time. So real quick, I'm gonna tell you guys the many hands that's into the shit, right? We have me, the buyer. I have my real estate agent. You have the seller. You have the seller's real estate agent. All right. You have my lender. you have the underwriter, and then you have the appraiser, you have the inspector, and then you have this other thing called, other people call title company. I'm gonna get to the title company later. Like me and overseas and stuff like that, a different place, different country, you also have the mailing service, which freaking sucks ass, but I'm getting into that a little bit. So at this point, I'm a week and a half out from my closing date, you guys. So I just want to talk to you about the closing date. The closing date is super, super freaking important. You guys, my closing date was November 30th. November 30th, okay? We started the process like, I don't know when we started the process, but you got to understand this about November, right? You got about 3 holidays in November. You got the election day, I think election day was in November, Veterans Day, and Thanksgiving. And for Thanksgiving, most jobs, they give their workers about 3 days off, you know? So I was like in a freaking limbo. Like, so think about that. Think about when the month that you're closing, and think about that, you know, making sure that you have more time. You have time to close, because man, I had to extend my closing date twice. And you don't want that, you know, because at any point, any given time, the seller could back out and be like, no. You know what I'm saying? Just be like, no, I'm not doing this with you. As you're doing everything, you have to send all this admin to your lender. You're sending everything you're doing. Every time you ask for something, every time a lender asks for something, you send it. And then the lender is sending it to the underwriter, and the underwriter, they're the ones who's going through everything with a fine-tooth comb. If something's wrong, they kicking that shit back, and you best to believe, you guys, make sure you are there to action that shit off immediately. And one thing I made sure was that anything that I was doing, it was never gonna be my fault why some shit got backed up. The only thing that was my fault was I fucked up with the whole inspection thing, trying to be cheap. But once the appraiser finally got his fucking act together, you know, he sent it to the underwriter, everything was squared away, good to go. And then it got to this point with the title company. I didn't even know what a freaking title company was. As you can just search it, what it is. I'm not gonna talk about it too. It's not much to talk about, but yeah. The title company, you know, they get the titles together, they make sure there aren't any lesions on the property, they make sure there's no, like, wasn't no crazy, like, you know, legalities, whatever going on with the property, wasn't no drug busting, nothing like that. They gotta make sure everything's good to go, everything's golden. And at this point, you know, once it's out the lender's hands and it goes to the title company, that's it. We did our jobs, we done. So, and remember I told you, everything has to happen on the same date that you freaking said that you pledged that you get this shit signed. I had to extend twice. So when you have to extend again, you have to do an amendment. And that shit's annoying too, cause this is the thing, you guys. You have to sign the shit, and then the seller has to sign it as well. Another thing too is, like, I told the seller, like, hey, you know, we're gonna be late with the closing, so we're gonna have to extend it. We have to ask him, is it okay for us to extend? If he could be like, no, at any given time. And whenever she would ask him, I had her ask him, and ask his agent, cause that's another thing too, cause she don't talk directly to him. She talked to his agent, and the agent talked to him. You see that middleman bullshit I'm talking about? He agreed, verbally agreed. You guys, don't ever get your hopes up on no verbal agreement. All right, I was not getting excited until I got that wet fucking ink. So if I ain't get no wet ink, don't get excited about it. Like I said, I had to get it extended, right? The mail company. I'm in Korea, you guys. I did this shit while I'm in Korea. That's how I know I'm a fucking goat, because I did this shit while I'm in Korea. But I was still scared though. I overnighted it, and it still took 3 days to get there. And I'm a day ahead of this of the state, so I'm like, how? So what has to happen is I have to get it notarized. So another thing too, the Army does notarize shit for you for free. You gotta pay for it, you know. So if you're in the Army, get it. Well, clearly you're in the Army, you're watching this. You have to get that shit notarized. Get it notarized with somebody in the Army, and they do everything perfectly, everything good to go. So you have to notarize your portion, and then the seller has to notarize their portion, and then they send that to the title company, all under that same time constraint. The mail people was late. That shit pissed me. I was so hot. So I had to extend it again, right? So thankfully he approved. He decided to do so. I think at this point he was just annoyed, and he just wanted to, like, get the shit over and done with. He wanted his bread, and that was just it. You know, he got his money, and he was this close to getting his money. So we ended up closing on December 12th. So I finally got him to sign, and the property was mine at that point. You know, it's just been a dream come true. And I'm happy that I was able to get my goal out the way of wanting the rental property. So yeah, you guys, that's it. That's all I got for you guys. That's all I have. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys took a lot of notes and everything like that. I hope I was able to help. If you have any more questions that I possibly can answer, just feel free to write them down in the comment section. And I'll see you guys next time.